Okay, so this video is just going to take you through some additional skills for Excel. We're going to specify and focus on some of the more complex formulas, VLOOKUPs and IFs. We're also going to do an integer formula, and we're going to look at some kind of the mathematical problems that you might come across, and then we're going to sort some data and extract some data. So this is not a past paper, but I've put this spreadsheet together, and the actual original spreadsheet is available for download from Plato in the same messages where you found the video link. So my first task here is to set up a VLOOKUP, the rate per minute for column D. So here's column D, and I want to find the rate per minute. I work for the phone company, and this is a list of all of my customers. And I know what phone tariff they are on, if they're on the low rate tariff at 8 pence per minute or the high rate tariff at 14 pence per minute. So I've got their coordinated letters here, and I want to bring back, using a VLOOKUP, their rates per minute. It says do not use a named range. So for the rates per minute here, I'm going to do a VLOOKUP, and it's a VLOOKUP from within the same Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to use this as my table array to bring the data back. I'm not opening a second Excel sheet. So I'm going to start with an equals VLOOKUP. And I need still 4 pieces of information. The lookup value, what am I looking it up? Table array, where am I looking it up? Column index number, which data do I want to return from column 1 or column 2? And the range lookup, is it true, it's within a range, or false, it's exact? So the lookup value here would be the tariffs. The table array is this range here, K4 to L7, returning the value from column 2, and it is a false lookup because it is an exact match. Now, as opposed to when you bring in your table from another spreadsheet, this table array does not automatically have the dollar symbols to lock it in place. So I'm going to have to lock it in place. And that's the one key difference between using a table array like this or creating a named range. Named ranges never need to be locked in place, but a range like this, where I'm going to drag it down and I don't want that to move, does need to be locked in place. So I'm going to add my dollar symbol before and after the letter of each of the cell references there. So $K, $4, and $L, $7. And that just locks this range in place so that when I drag my rate per minute down, it will not move this location. So I press enter, and I'm going to drag it down. And I'll notice that it's not brought across the formatting, so I am going to format that in the same way as these have been formatted. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to Format Cells, and I'm going to select them as currency, and these ones are to pounds, so I'm going to leave it as pounds in 2 decimal places. Press OK. There we go. Now, the next task says calculate the number of whole hours in the total bill from column F. So here we are, the breakdown of total hours. I can see in the formula before, in the table before, I have the total bill in minutes. So this monthly bill was 845 minutes worth of phone use. So how many hours is that? Or how many whole hours is that? Because it's a whole number we're looking for, I'm going to use the INT formula, or integer. I'm going to use equals INT. So the INT formula ensures that whatever number it returns will be rounded, and it will only show the whole numbers. It will ignore any of the decimal values. Okay, this enables me to then do calculations on that. So I'm going to find the integer of the total bill in minutes divided by 60. Now, how do I know it's the total bill in minutes divided by 60? Well, I'm being asked to find the number of whole hours, and I'm having to apply some logic that I know that there are 60 minutes in an hour. So if I divide the total bill in minutes by 60, I should find the total number of whole hours. Now, this isn't hard mathematics by any stretch of the imagination, but you are expected to be able to apply a certain level of basic arithmetic and common sense understanding to the data. The second thing you're expected to do is you're actually expected to read what the table is showing you. so that you can tell that this here is the total bill in minutes. Therefore, to do the breakdown of hours, I need to use this data here. So, you know, don't just assume that you get given every instruction. Sometimes you actually have to read the tables to figure out what it is that you need to do. So this should give me my whole numbers of hours. There we go. So there were 14 hours in 845 minutes. And it has completely disregarded the decimals, okay? So the leftover minutes as such, okay? It's not like when I change the decimal place or I round up or round down. That just hides the decimals, whereas this disregards them, which enables me now to calculate the breakdown of minutes. So now I'm going to use column E and column F, okay, to calculate the number of minutes left over from the whole hours. So if I had 845 minutes in total, and I know that there are 14 whole hours in that, how many minutes are left over? Well, what I want to do is I want to do this number here, take away that times 60, because this times 60 will tell me how many minutes are in this 14 hours, and everything that's left over is the breakdown of minutes. Again, not complicated mathematics, just some basic sums that you may be asked to apply common sense to. Something along the lines of this. E3 minus brackets F3 times 60. That will multiply this number back up into minutes, and it will take the total minutes, and it will take the hours away from that. And I can see that there are 5 minutes left over. So if I was to work that out, and I was to say 14 times 60, you put it into your calculator, you'll find 14 times 60 is 840. So what's left over is 5 minutes. And again, I can drag that down. So not complicated mathematics, but this is simply a process of actually reading through the instructions and applying some common sense to the data that you've been given. So the next one here says that we are to say if the number of minutes used, oh, my apologies, I've actually missed one here, is to calculate the monthly payment due, okay? So the monthly payment due, quite obviously, if I have the rates per minute and I have the total bill in minutes, how am I going to calculate the monthly payment due? I simply want to do equals rate per minute multiplied by total bill in minutes. Why am I not using the breakdown of hours? Because this is the rate per minute. Okay, so this is how much it costs per minute. So I need to multiply that by the total minutes to find the total monthly payment due. Let's drag that down. Okay, so now, if the number of minutes used is, let me just edit that to say, is 1,000 or more. Okay, so if the number of minutes used is 1,000 or more, calculate the price to be paid less a 10% discount into column I. Okay, otherwise show the original price. So what I want to do is I want to say if the total bill in minutes is greater than or equal to 1,000, then apply a 10% discount to this monthly payment due. Otherwise, just show the original monthly payment due. So there's a couple of ways I can do this, and let's have a look at how we can make it most efficient. It's an equals if, and I am asking the logical question if the total bill in minutes, over here, is greater than or equal to 1,000. If the total bill in minutes is greater than or equal to 1,000, then, now this is the value of true. So the value of true should be a 10% discount on the monthly payment. So what I could do is I could say the monthly payment here minus, and then what 10% is, so H3 times 0.1. That there would calculate what 10% was and take it away from that number. Or a more efficient way of doing it, actually, would simply be to say H3 multiplied by 0.9. And that's essentially the same thing, because what that will show me is 90% of this, or a less 10% discount. So if E3 is greater than or equal to 1,000, then return 90% of the monthly payment due, or 10% discount. Otherwise, just return the original monthly payment due. And when I close that bracket and press enter, if I drag this down, I should find, once I've formatted it to currency, of course, format cells currency, I should find that for all of the systems where the total bill was less than 1,000, the bill is exactly the same. Whereas for the ones where the bill is 1,000 or more, a discount has been applied. Now, is it a 10% discount? Well, let's just do some maths to check. So this number here was £122.76, and after it's £110.48. So what would be 10% of £122.76? So let's say equals 122.76 times 0.1 to get 10%. That would be 12.28. Well, I think you'll find if you do 122.76 minus 12.28, you would get 110.48. So calculating the 90% is just as quick as calculating this amount minus the 10%. So this would easily give me my less discounted amount. So the next task asks us to sort the data in ascending order of surname. So if I want to sort the data in ascending order of surname, I don't want to just highlight the surname column, because if I just highlight surname, it will only reorder these and everything else will stay where it is. So all of a sudden, Jones will no longer be the surname of Sarah, which is not what we want. So you highlight all of the data that is relevant, not the headers, and you go to the data column and you choose sort. And then when you go to sort by, you can see your headers become what you sort by. Sort by surname, A to Z. Now we have our alphabetic surnames. It also says to extract only the data from the customers on tariffs A and B and whose number of hours was greater than 750. So to extract data, what I want to do is I want to add some filters. So I highlight all of my headings up here, because that's what I'm going to filter based upon. I'm going to filter on this row on the headings. So when I highlight the headings, I then want to click the little filter box here. Okay? And it turns on this drop-down menu for each option. So now I can add my instructions. Only the data for the customers who are on tariffs A and B. So that's the phone tariff here. Use the little drop-down, and instead of select all, deselect all, and just select A and B. And now I can only see the customers who are on tariffs A or B. And we wanted to also ensure that it was only the customers whose number of hours was greater than 750. So let's go to the total bill in minutes here. And we want to make sure that it's not all, but if I go to number filters, I want to have greater than 750. So it will only find those whose number of minutes is greater than 750. Press enter. All on tariff A and B, all of their minutes are greater than 750. And this is the kind of extracting of data you will be asked to do. If you've done it wrong, you can clear all of your filters. If you want to turn them off, you just simply click filter again and they disappear. And everything comes back. Now this is some basic formatting and some sort and extract that you could be asked to complete.